How on earth do two people with such different ideologies on something that, in my opinion, is such a big f***ing deal work together? Hi guys, it's Ash, your truth-bombing fairy godmother for everything love, dating, and relationships. It feels a little bit bizarre to be sitting down to film today. I've only taken 2 weeks off, but it really feels like a lot more. I took a bit of time off to just really consume myself and focus all of my energy on the Black Lives Matter movement and educating myself on anti-racism and consuming content and reading and having really tough conversations with loved ones and protesting that I just have not had the capacity to focus on anything else, but we are here and I'm back and I'm ready to go. So today I'm going to be discussing something that is both very relevant to this current climate, but also very relevant to my channel, which is navigating differing political and social views and ideologies within a relationship. And what really piqued my interest in this topic specifically was listening to Rachel, Lindsay, and Becca Kufrin's latest podcast episode about race, in which Garret, who is Becca's fiance, and both of them are white, in case you're not familiar with these people, has very opposing views about this movement, in which Becca apparently does not support. So should something like this be a deal breaker? We're gonna break it down. But first, as always, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for new love, dating, and relationship videos every single week. And don't forget to click that little notification bell as well so that you can be notified every single time I upload. And that comes in handy when my uploading schedule becomes a little bit chaotic, which it is right now. Okay, so as I said before, what really sparked my interest in this topic was listening to the latest Bachelor Happy Hour podcast episode, which is hosted by Becca Kufrin and Rachel Lindsay, which, in case you don't know, are both previous bachelorettes. And let me just say that even if you don't watch any of those shows, if you don't watch The Bachelor or anything like that, I still highly recommend listening to this episode. It was really, really powerful. It was raw and messy and a really great example of what a conversation about race between a black person and a white person who happen to be friends can sound like and what it can be like. And Rachel Lindsay, she was a damn force. She was so good. She did not hold back and I was living for it. Becca? And one of the topics that they discussed was the fact that Garret, no idea how to say his last name, but who is Becca's fiance, again, has been very outspoken about voicing his support for Blue Lives Matter, so the police, and yet much more quiet or neutral about voicing his support for Black Lives Matter. And Becca is a self-proclaimed feminist. She's very outspoken about women's rights and social injustices, and overall just seems to lean far more left-wing with her political and social views. Whereas Garret, based on past online behavior, seems to lean much more right-wing. He has a history of liking anti-feminist, anti-trans, and xenophobic posts on Instagram. And that's a whole other thing that I won't even get into in this video. And in this episode, Becca repeatedly said that Garret's prioritizing of law enforcement over Black people's lives and well-being was not something that she agreed with. She said these are not views that she shares and that she has been spending considerable time and energy trying to explain to Garret why these posts and shows of support were inappropriate and harmful. And it really got me thinking, how on earth do two people with such different ideologies on something that, in my opinion, is such a big deal. Work together. And of course, what I'm about to say and what I will be saying throughout this entire video is absolutely just my opinion. But I think the answer to that question truly does lie in how much particular political or social views are a part of your core identity. For me personally, my support of Black Lives Matter is a inflexible, non-negotiable core value of mine. So I could not engage in a romantic relationship, let alone be in a life partnership with someone who does not share that core value. Can you have a difference of political views and opinion with a partner? Absolutely, it happens all the time. But to me, to see a failure to participate and understand the Black Lives Movement as a simple difference of political views is entirely out of touch, in my opinion. Because to me, valuing someone else's life is not political. It's moral. It truly is a matter of right and wrong. So again, this is what I mean by deciding how much particular opinions are a part of your core identity. Because if it's simply a matter of differing political opinions about things like taxes or funding or health cover, I could see how those differences wouldn't necessarily have a detrimental effect on your overall compatibility. But when it's a difference of opinions about concepts and issues that are much more fundamental, things like social injustice and human life, I really struggle to see how something like that would be workable in the long term. It really does depend on how much your feminism and your activism, or in this case, your allyship in terms of prioritizing and protecting basic human rights for the Black community, are a part of who you are and what matters to you. So I guess in this case, Becca's feminism and her allyship are not defining aspects of who she is, or at least not enough to the point that they are inflexible, non-negotiable core values of hers that she would feel the need to share with a life partner. Hence why she is still able to pursue a relationship with Garret. Dan Weil, who is a marriage and family therapist at University of California, Berkeley, has stated that there is value when choosing a long-term partner in realizing that you will inevitably be choosing a particular set of unsolvable problems that you'll be grappling with for the next 10, 20, or 50 years. No matter who you choose, you will be choosing a particular set of unsolvable problems. So choose well. So in Becca's case, I suppose her differing of opinions about these topics with her fiance is a particular set of problems that she is ultimately okay with accepting for the rest of her life. And that truly is the question that you have to ask yourself when it comes to your relationship with someone who either disagrees with you on this issue specifically, or even other more general political and social views. Are these differences of opinion something that you're okay with accepting for the next several decades? Or are these inflexible aspects of your identity that are deeply ingrained within you at a core level, and therefore something that you'll feel the need to have in common with a life partner? If you are entering a partnership with someone in the hopes that they'll change their mind or that you'll rub off on them, that is a losing battle. Although people can and do evolve, putting that type of expectation on someone is not the way you want to go, because it is much, much more likely that they will not, in fact, change at all. You have to go into a relationship with someone with the complete understanding that who and what they are right now is what you are happy to accept for potentially the rest of your life. You will never be 100% aligned with anyone. Luke and I have differing views and opinions on all kinds of things, but so far none of those things have been deal breakers. And that's because when it comes to those key core level values and beliefs, those things that really define who we are as people and how we operate in the world, we are very much aligned. If Luke was not behind the Black Lives Matter movement or women's rights movements, that would be in severe conflict with my identity. And personally, I could not compartmentalize that because my passion about those issues takes up way too much space in my being. I couldn't just pause something like that and put it to the side. And I feel like that would be a very similar situation when it comes to something like religious beliefs, because generally speaking, I guess depending on how strong someone's faith is, religious beliefs are such integral aspects of someone's identity and core values, making opposing religious beliefs and views something very difficult to navigate in a relationship. But there are plenty of couples out there with differing political, social, or even religious views who do just fine. And I guess for them, they have determined that that is something that they either just don't discuss or agree to disagree on. And for them, those differences or issues do fall within that category of being those perpetual, unsolvable set of problems that they have learned to accept and live with for the rest of their lives. And they can just put those things to the side for the sake of preserving the relationship. Navigating conflicting views and opinions in a relationship is absolutely a matter of picking your battles and deciding which ones are and aren't worth having. And when it comes to picking fights, the question, are you sure that's a hill you're willing to die on, is a valid one worth asking yourself. And for me, when it comes to issues like Black Lives Matter or women's rights movements, the answer to that question is yes. That is a hill I would be willing to die on. That is a hill that I would be willing to let my relationship die on, because unfortunately, that is a hill that Black people are literally dying on. And I genuinely see the refusal to get behind this movement or to perpetuate this all lives matter nonsense as a fundamental issue with self-awareness, insight, empathy, morality, and an overall regard for human life. And those are core values that I cannot and will not compromise on within the context of my relationship. So if this is something that you're trying to navigate when it comes to not seeing eye to eye with your partner on certain political or social issues, it really does just come down to knowing yourself. How much do differences of opinion on certain political, social, or human rights issues matter to you? Do they fall within that category of those perpetual, unsolvable set of problems that you are happy to accept in another person for potentially the rest of your life? Or are these opinions more deeply ingrained within your identity, therefore increasing your need to share and agree on them with a life partner? Is it possible to have a successful relationship with someone with such polarizing political views to your own? For some people, absolutely. For me, absolutely not. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. If you listened to that Bachelor Happy Hour podcast episode I was talking about, I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Or if navigating a difference of opinion about the Black Lives Matter movement or other movements is something that you're dealing with within your relationship, or perhaps even with a close friend, please comment down below because I would love to chat about this. Until next week, see you then.